Honorable guests, ladies and gentlemen, our next panel discussion is proudly brought to you by the Malaysian Takaful Association. This session will highlight the ASEAN Takaful Alliance (ATA) as a unifying force driving collaboration, innovation, and shared growth across the region. It explores how ASEAN's collective strength and common Sharia values are positioning that region as a global benchmark for Takaful excellence. Our esteemed panel discussions will share their thoughts and perspective on ASEAN Spotlight, charting ASEAN's Takaful transformation from strength to global benchmark. May we please invite on the stage the panelists. First, Encik Wan Saifulrizal Wan Ismail, Chairman, Malaysian Takaful Association and CEO, Prudential BSN Takaful Berhad. Tuan Haji Shahrildin Pehin Orang Kaya Lela Utama, Datuk Paduka Haji Jaya, CEO and Managing Director, Syarikat Takaful Brunei Darussalam Sdn Bhd. Yurivanno Gani, Vice Chairman for Sharia Life Insurance Development, AASI and CEO, Asuransi Takaful Keluarga. Neslihan Necipoglu, Board Member, Turkey Association. And our final panelist is Maricel Estavillo, VP, Sustainability and Takaful Head, PRU Life. The moderator for this session is Mr. Mohd Radzuan Mohamed, CEO, Malaysian Takaful Association. Mr. Radzuan, the stage is now yours.
Thank you, Mr. MC. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh, and very good morning to everyone. Distinguished guests, DJ Adnan, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this exciting session featuring esteemed leaders from across the world, not just ASEAN. The original title that we gave for the organizer is ASEAN Spotlight, but there is a plus there because we have our guests also from Turkey, part of the panelists today. And today we are privileged to be joined by 5 distinguished outstanding industry figures who bring a wealth of experience, leadership, and vision to the table. Now, first we have Encik Wan Saifulrizal, Chief Executive Officer of Prudential BSN Takaful Berhad, who has over 11 years of experience in insurance and Takaful, but prior to that, he also one of the regulator attached with Bank Negara. Encik Wan Saiful has a deep expertise in strategy, regulations, market development. He has leading Prudential BSM Takaful since March 2000. And next, we have Naslihan Hanum, right? Okay. Chief Executive Officer of Neova Participation Insurance. In Turkey, basically, the Islamic insurance or Takaful is known as a participation insurance. She brings nearly 20 years of experience in banking, risk management, and insurance, having started her career at Kuveyat Turk Bank. She rose through the ranks to become one of Turkey's leading voices in participation insurance. If I'm not mistaken, you are also the first lady CEO in participation insurance. Okay, welcome. And now serving also as a board member of Insurance Association of Turkey. Forgot to mention that Encik Wan also a chairman of Malaysian Takaful Association, my boss, right? Okay, joining us from Brunei, Tuan Haji Shahrildin Jaya, Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of Takaful Brunei, having over 25 years of experience in the industry. He had journeyed through nearly every facet of Takaful, from underwriting, claim to digital transformation, and he is also the chairman of BITA, Brunei Insurance and Takaful Association, representing Brunei industry both nationally and regionally. Then we also honored to have Mr. Bapak Yuri Gani, Chief Executive Officer of Takaful Keluarga, Indonesia. With more than a decade of experience in the takaful and insurance space, Bapak Yuri has played a key leadership in both Takaful Umum and Asuransi Bintang, right? Yeah, and continue to shape the development of Sharia insurance ecosystem in Indonesia. And finally, we have our guest from Philippines, Maricel Estavillo. She is the Vice President and Head of Takaful in PruLife UK, based in Philippines, have over 15 years of experience. She leads Takaful Sustainability and Community Investment at PruLife UK, certified sustainability professional and alumni of a UN Executive Leadership Program. And last but not least, myself, I'm Radzuan, over 20 years experience in the Takaful and insurance industry and about 30-minute experience in moderating. So any shortfalls, please forgive me. And the ChatGPT also asked whether I want to change my tone to formal, casual, or executive. So that's the end of help from ChatGPT. Right now, we go to the real business. Okay, so can we have a picture of what happening last night? Last night was a very significant, we have a very significant moment here in Malaysia. We are honored as well as lucky because in conjunction with this global forum and of course Malaysian chairmanship of ASEAN, we decided to hold a ceremony where 4 countries had basically, ASEAN countries had sit down together jointly, Malaysia, Brunei, Indonesia, as well as Philippines. Together we form ASEAN Takaful Alliance. We are lucky also because 2 of the important person that brainchild this idea is also in this room when we celebrate our 40th anniversary. But since then, we have been working very closely with them. And also, last night marked a very important moment where we have a MOU of understanding with TSB, the equivalent of MTA in Turkey, where the chairman as well as the executive secretary was here today. Also, coming out with the area where we can collaborate because the learning is always continuous. And finally, we also have this session where we basically, share our, we want to contribute beyond insurance, beyond takaful, and therefore we work with ISRA to elevate the access to Maqasid Syariah scorecard that we prepare, which is currently predominantly focused on takaful, but hopefully ISRA will take it to the next level, to the banking as well as capital market. Now, without further ado, let me start with Encik Wan Saiful. Then we will go for one round of each and every one because we have quite a long queue of presenter. What we're going to touch in the first session is that each and every speaker will just give some idea about the development of takaful in respective country, a snapshot in terms of current performance and their future aspiration. Cik Wan, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you, Razan. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And good morning to everyone. I still think it's morning. Yeah. Thanks, Razan, for the kind introduction. So I'm just representing MTA and to share a little bit in terms of experience for the Malaysian development of the takaful industry. I also have to be very careful in the choice of words that I use, given that we are in a Bank Negara-sponsored event as well. But I'm sure, yeah, I'll do the stakeholders all the justice that's needed. Well, if I want to revisit back and recap how Malaysian takaful industry developed, and on hindsight, right, we can always say that we strive for progression rather than perfection from the very beginning. And the Malaysian takaful industry actually started in 1984 with the introduction of the Takaful Act, Malaysian Takaful Act, as well as the first company in Malaysia, Syarikat Takaful Malaysia, now split into 2. One is doing family takaful and one is doing general takaful business, but it started then. And I'll separate the phases of the Malaysian takaful landscape into 5 different phases. The first phase is from 1984 to 1992, where it's a foundational development, right? We have the new act, one company, exploring the market, tapping the opportunities. And in 1993 to year 2000, we have, so in 1993, the second Takaful operator license was issued. We have Takaful National. And since then, we have, during that period, 1993 to 2000, we have about 2 players working the market itself and helping to develop it. And from that second phase, we move into the third phase. And third phase is really more into expansion of the market. The third phase is from year 2000, early 2000s to 2010, where you have more Takaful operators actually entering to the market. You have the likes of, from where the company I'm from, Prudential, Hong Leong, MAA, and HSBC. So bringing on international flavors as well into the scene. And that actually helps with diversification from channels, products. Previously, it was focused more on credit protection, but now it expanded into more advisory type of products, expanding into different channels as well.
I think you accidentally skipped to the next slide. Okay.
Okay. All right. Sorry. And so the market developed very rapidly, but during that period as well, and I was still in Bank Negara at that point in time, and the regulations just starting to develop a little bit more in terms of Takaful, because there was, prior to that, a blanket requirement that says that Takaful companies, you adopt conventional insurance regulatory guidelines as far as permissible, as long as it doesn't contravene Sharia. So that was the basis of the operating model during that time. But towards the late of 2000, there are more specific Takaful regulations, guidelines being developed, Takaful operational framework, and then later on in 2011, you have the risk-based capital for Takaful that took place at the same time. And in 2013, there is this Islamic Financial Services Act, specifically for the Islamic Bank and Takaful. So basically, you can see that development from nascent and then to more specific regulatory requirements for Takaful, recognizing that time is right in order to regulate and supervise and standardize the industry much tighter. And so between the period of 2011 to 2020, there's also additional Takaful operators, additional licenses actually being issued. So that actually makes the market more exciting, and the growth rates was actually quite tremendous during that time, given the new entrants, given stability in regulations, and also support from regulators and government in driving the Takaful industry. And post 2020 was a pandemic year. So from 2020 onwards, the Takaful operators now has really just been diversifying and doing a lot more innovation with regards to their product, given that fast pace of growth in 2010 to 2020. So later on, I share the growth rates that we have seen, but basically that helps to bring in that period of stability. I'm just conscious of time. I probably won't go through every of my slides, but just a very quick snapshot from a Takaful growth perspective. 3 points from this slide. The first one is the growth comparison. If you look at the middle, the Takaful CAGR for the past 10 years is above 10%, both family and general. If you compare it to the life insurance and general insurance, it's between 3 to 5%. So it's easily double or triple the growth rate over the 10 years period, which means that the market share of Takaful has also actually grown over the past 10 years from, in terms of new business, we look at from a market share of 20+%, now at 2024 is at about 40%. So it's actually kind of double up with this short period of time. So we can see that demand is there, momentum is there, and now we probably at a crossroads in terms of we still have challenges in relation to the business, but recognizing the challenges, the Malaysian Takaful Association look at, okay, what do we need to do next in order to really address the challenges, also be in line with Bank Negara. They issued our financial sector blueprint from 2022 to 2026, And at the same time, the association, Malaysian Takaful Association, also have launched a value-based intermediation for Takaful in year 2022. So taking into account all that, the MTA actually launched the Hijrah 27 framework towards the end of last year. Just a little bit of color in terms of the framework itself. With the idea of the framework is to really challenge ourselves and upskill and really bring up the game and raise the game for the Takaful industry. They have one vision, which is strengthening Takaful and make it Takaful for all. And in terms of from vision, we have two mission itself. The two mission is make it a household name, and the other mission is accelerated quality growth. And apart from that two mission, 8 separate KPIs that we will measure in terms of whether we have actually achieved that. The 8 KPIs are gross contribution, customer retention, talent, social Takaful fund, the penetration rate of Takaful, the MSME coverage, because that seems to be one of the underserved segment as well, and collaboration to create an Islamic ecosystem and increase transparency. So from the 8 measures of success, there's 8 strategic pillars that MTA is driving towards, and from that 8 strategic pillars, there's actually 17 work groups that is chaired by, each work group is chaired by a CEO from a Takaful company in order to drive towards that, and there's a whole program management being put in place to actually oversee the progress towards delivering the Hijrah 2027 framework. So with that, I think I'll just take up my time and I'll just
Thank you,
Thank you.
Cik Wan. I will keep the question later. Now, Naslihan Hanem, so your floor is yours.
Okay, thank you.
No, because everyone is familiar with Hatun. Nobody familiar with Hanim until the
Yeah.
Naslihan mentioned, because Eturu, the movie, is very popular here in Malaysia. Go ahead.
Okay, sorry for my surname, by the way. It was very difficult to pronounce, I see. Firstly, thank you. It is our pleasure to be here. My name is Maricel. I'm the CEO of Neobi Takaful Insurance, but in Turkey, we are calling Takaful as participation insurance. I'm the board member of Turkey Insurance Association. Our chairman and general secretary are here as well. In Turkey, there is just one insurance association, not separated by Takaful and non-Takaful, but very democratically, we are all together. And I am the board member and trying to represent the Takaful companies. So, of course, every country has many differences and many different economies, dynamics, inflation, currencies, others. So, of course, Turkey is very different from especially these countries. I can just summarize what's happening there. The establishment of Takaful is not very old comparing to the Malaysian market. When we look at what happened in 2009, firstly, Nova Insurance, that my company was founded. The shareholders were some capitals from Kuwait, the country of Kuwait. In that time, there was not any regulation about Takaful, but the company was founded, and in parallel, they were actually set their Sharia board and separated their pools with the policyholders and operating company. And then, why this way? They worked approximately 9 years. And in 2017, in the first time, actually, there was a Takaful regulation in Turkey. And by this way, the general provisions were written. And, for example, Mudaraba and Wakala, some kind of models were introduced by the market with that regulation the first time. But the history of Islamic banking in Turkey is older than insurance, by the way, Takaful. So the banks, the Islamic banks were, of course, aware of the some kind of models like that. But for Takaful side, the market was introduced for the first time. And sorry, I want to stand up if it is okay. Okay. And maybe it will be easy for me. In 2018, as I said, our total insurance association actually founded a Takaful, yani participation insurance committee under the association. By this way, the companies come together to develop the market. It was very important. And in 2020, what happened? Our insurance authority was reporting to the ministry directly. In that time, actually, the insurance authority was founded, and the Department of Participation Insurance was founded as well. By this way, the authorities, the state actually showed that they will give the importance to the Takaful side anymore. And in 2021 and 2022 was the years where the Takaful documents and regulations were renewed. For example, there are some models, as you know, Takaful models, and there was a model, it was called Tesir. Tesir was a kind of model obeying to Turkey regulations. For that reason, in that time, the department actually was studying about the models with the companies. The history of the Takaful was, as I said, very new for Turkish market. And it is new, but what happens in terms of the market share and others? We see that there are 59 non-Takaful conventional companies in Turkey, and 7 number of total Takaful companies are 7. And the market share is 6% is total production is coming from Takaful companies, and 94% is non-Takaful. And when we look at the life sides and non-life, there are 7 companies, 3 of them are life, and 4 are non-life, including Neo Insurance. In the right side, I try to mention about the companies. Neo market share in Takaful is about 45, and for that reason, it is the leader. And 2 years ago, our government, actually the state, the ministry, founded a state Takaful company, public, and they grow so fast nowadays. So when we look at the companies in non-life sector, you will see in the yellow colors our market share in total. For example, Neova market share is approximately 3% in total, and at the end of August, our total production was about $500 million. Most probably, at the end of this year, it will be ended with $800 million. So maybe it can show you the total volume in Turkey. And when we look at the sector, the growth rate comparing to the Takaful companies, of course, it is related with the economic conditions. And on the other side, it is not very deep Takaful. For that reason, the company's growth rate is very, very high comparing to the current companies. Turkish market is, of course, very big market in terms of banking and insurance as well. So we have, as Malaysia, there are many global big insurance companies for many years. And also we have a local company who is 100 years. 100 years ago, a company was founded and still grows. Its name is Anadolu Insurance. So for that reason, I want to say those things. Takaful was founded just 16 years ago. For that reason, the growth rate is more than the sector. It's very normal. When we compare the last 5 years, yearly, the 5 years growth rate for the sector was 66% in terms of gross premiums. It's very high. And when we look at the Takaful side, its growth rate is 71%. Also, it's very high and bigger and higher than the sector. When we look at the market share, you will see in 2018, our market share was in total to 3.6% just. But after 2018, as I said, we had lots of agendas. Like we have Takaful Committee under Association, we have Takaful Department under Insurance Authority, and new entries for Takaful Life and non-life together. For that reason, the market share increased so fast. In 2022, the market share dropped a bit. The reason was especially the economic contraction, the currency rate and inflation in Turkey. So it affected the Takaful side as well. And now it jumped to above 6%. The authority, the ministry, insurance authority and the Ministry of Finance and the government actually have targets to reach 15% Takaful market share in total. So when we look at the non-life Takaful companies, what we do altogether, actually 30% of the total production is coming from motor liability. It is a compulsory branch in Turkey. And 16% is MOD, 7% is health, and 48% is non-motor. When we compare these figures with the rest of the market, the big portion, I mean the conventional side, we see that health is 20%. In Turkey, health insurance is increasing so fast because we have two different, actually main health branches. One of them is private, the second one is complementary health branches. And by this way, we have a very strong social security of the government, but people anymore actually trying to get services from the private hospitals. For that reason, health insurance is increasing very, very fast. And currently, the global companies in Turkey, especially the conventional companies, have a huge market share. But in Takaful side, including NEOA, we have started to issue health insurance. For that reason, I believe the health branch will contribute Takaful companies to increase their market share as well. When we look at the distribution channel, in Turkey, there are three main distribution channels. One of them is the agencies, little or big. In Turkey, in overall, there are approximately 20,000 agencies, overall Turkey. And the second strong channel is the brokers. The number of brokers is approximately 300, especially, of course, as in Malaysia, they are the representatives of the customers. Especially, they are focusing on big deals, corporates, fire, engineering, etc., and the group health policies. And the third main channel in Turkey is the bank insurance. Banking is very strong, and also I know that they have lots of this in Malaysia. And bank insurance is strong as well for that reason. When we look at the sector, approximately 60% of the total production is coming from agencies. So agencies are still very important and strong channels. And the bank, 12%, brokers, 17%, and the others. And when we look at the Takaful, actually the picture is a bit similar, but the agency is a bit under the overall, and the banks is 23%, and the others. So especially the broker percentage is lower than the sector. This is why, especially the main reason is the health group policies. Sorry. Yeah. And when we look at the life, I know that in Malaysia, life insurance is very developed. And in total insurance sector, life portion is very high. But in Turkey, it is the opposite. General insurance, the total gross premiums in terms of in general insurance, it is very high. Approximately 80% of production is coming from general, 20% is coming from the life side. And so in last 5 years, and especially in Turkey, in life side, the gross premiums are very connected with the bank loans. In total, their growth was 54%, but in Takaful life companies, it is a bit more, 57%. And then, when we come to pension is important for Turkey, and life companies can do pension. And in pension, in Turkey, people are more sensitive in terms of savings, Takaful or non-Takaful side. And in last 5 years, the pension sector total funds increased 58%. It is very huge. And on the other side, the Takaful companies' growth rate was 85. When we look at the Takaful pension funds market share in total, you see it is 34%, approximately 35. So it means that people are more sensitive, you know, especially in deposit, and saving is very important for Turkish people. And also I can say that in here, in general insurance, the regulator doesn't allow the companies to open windows. To do Takaful, you have to found purely Takaful company for general insurance. But for pension sites, you can open windows. So for that reason, there are 2 purely Takaful companies in life and pension. However, in conventional companies, 10 conventional companies have windows, Takaful windows, like AXA, Alliance, the global ones. And with the effect of their volume, actually, you see the Takaful pension in total is increasing so fast. So for that reason, those global companies contribute to Takaful funds very much.
Anim, perhaps we
can
can...
I stop?
Yeah, can I interrupt you there? Maybe later on we can talk about the challenges.
Yeah.
So perhaps we can pass the floor to Haji Shahrildin to continue. And then we come back to the challenges later on during the open session, if time permits.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
I know from the look of her eyes at the holding room, she will breach the 5 minutes that I give. Yeah. Haji.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillah. Thank you so much to GIFF 2025 for inviting me to present on behalf of Brunei. Thank you to Malaysian Takaful Association for coordinating and for this invitation. Alhamdulillah, today I'll be elaborating on these 2 particular items when it comes to our small, humble, but yet dynamic Takaful insurance market in Brunei, and what are our experiences and future opportunities, inshallah. Takaful and insurance in Brunei, we have an association called BITA, Brunei Insurance Takaful Association. This is a combination of all the Takaful and conventional operators. There are 11 members, 2 Takaful group of companies, Takaful Brunei and Insurance of some type, which we both have a general and family Takaful license. And when it comes to the conventional insurers, there are 3 life insurers and 4 non-life insurers. And with this particular solidified association, we have a one voice towards a strong and dynamic progressive insurance and Takaful market in Brunei. Now, when it comes to the market size, as I said, it's quite a small and humbling market size, but in approximately about US dollars, in 2023, we generated about 270 million worth of insurance contribution or Takaful contribution. Out of that amount, alhamdulillah, the Takaful market, we have about 60% of the market share. And Takaful only developed or established in Brunei in 1993. So within 33 years, alhamdulillah, the Takaful market has about 60%. But however, when it comes to the breakdown between general and family, overwhelmingly, we are more dominant in the general Takaful space compared to the family Takaful space. This is because when it comes to the general Takaful, or the context of the insurance or Takaful market in Brunei, it is mostly compulsory type of coverages such as motor, liability, property, medical that is enforced within the Brunei market there. This is just to show an illustration within the ASEAN market when it comes to the penetration rate. The average insurance penetration rate in ASEAN is about 3.22%. Now, this is compared to globally is about 6.7%, and we can see there where Brunei is just at 1.77%. So therefore, there is still a lot of opportunities for the Brunei market or other ASEAN countries to actually promote not only Takaful but also insurance in general. Now, talking about moving on to our experiences and our opportunities, Alhamdulillah, for Takaful Brunei, we were established in 1993 when His Majesty, the Sultan of Brunei Darussalam, wanted to propagate the values of Islamic finance. And our objectives are to enforce Sharia-compliant business transactions, the growth domestically and internationally, and to make sure the sustainability of our Tabarruk funds, which is very important. And only last is when we are looking into delivering profits for our shareholders. When it comes to sustainability, we are aligned with our Brunei Wawasan 2035 objectives, which is the goals are to make sure that we have an educated and a skilled workforce, we have a high quality of life, and we have a dynamic and sustainable economy. This supports align with the UN SDG goals as well. So Alhamdulillah, in terms of the Takaful market in Brunei, we are all aligned with Brunei Wawasan or Brunei Vision of 2035. In terms of the distribution channels, we have all distribution channels in Brunei, but overwhelmingly in terms of the biggest share is still on the traditional agency force. But however, in recent times, our digital platform has surpassed the other traditional lines of branches or counters or even banca as well. So this is something where digital transformation in the past 4 or 5 years has really excelled and propelled the Takaful market in Brunei. And just to show the illustration, since we started our mobile digital transformation in 2019, the growth has been, alhamdulillah, has been really, really positive. And it just shows what having an expansive type of distribution channels will help to grow the Takaful business. In terms of our learning experiences, we just have to make sure that when we embark on this digital transformation, we have to self-critique ourselves and have those difficult conversations between innovative processes and business as usual practices. Because once we want to do something innovative, there's an old habit to make sure that the way that we've been doing things, just to make it digital, however, we know that is actually counterintuitive. Innovating simpler and more expensive products and adapting to customers' feedback is all important. And fourth, this, what has been touched on this morning or yesterday as well, how do we holistically approach and integrate technology and governance together? So in the terms of agentic AI or artificial intelligence, for having digital workers, what is the governance that we need to embark on that particular digital worker there? So this is something where, in interesting times, where Brunei is actually looking on how to develop this further. And overall, talents is a very critical success factor. And just a final thoughts there, align again, how to make sure that we are successful to promote not only Takaful insurance in Brunei, but inshallah within ASEAN and globally as well. Talents is also a common thread to make sure that we are all successful. So in line with the objectives of promoting Takaful and making an impact or positive impact, talents is very, very critical to ensure that we are successful. So with that, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Haji Shahrildin. Before we give it to Bapak Yuri, I just want to share that Haji Shahrildin as well as Pak Permana, Pak Permana is basically the chairman of ASI in Indonesia, right? They are the two biggest supporters that makes ASEAN Takaful Alliance a reality. Yeah, and thank you very much on that. And hopefully your aspiration just now is something that we can carry together on this. So Bapak Yuri is basically one of the board member of ASI. The floor is yours, Pak Yuri.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, first of all, I would like to say thank you to MTA for inviting me to this wonderful GIFF event. In Indonesia, there are 3 insurance associations, which are life insurance, general insurance, and then Sharia insurance. For Sharia insurance, the member is also coming from family as well as general. I myself, as explained by Cik Radzuan, represent Sharia insurance in this session. So I will start with the Islamic insurance development in Indonesia. Basically, the Islamic financial industry was started in 1991 with the establishment of the first Islamic bank in Indonesia, which is Bank Muamalat Indonesia. The same founder of Bank Muamalat Indonesia, they realized that insurance is part of supporting for a banking system, so they also established Sharia insurance, which is called Takaful Keluarga or Takaful Family, and then followed by the Takaful Umum or Takaful General in 1994. After the establishment of Takaful Keluarga and Takaful Umum, along the way there are some windows being established until in 2000, first Sharia stock market exchange was launched, and it is called Jakarta Islamic Index. This is simply to answer the increased demand of Sharia financial industry. And in 2003, Association for Sharia in Indonesia was also established, which is called Asosiasi Asuransi Syariah Indonesia. And then finally, today we have 28 life or family insurance Sharia, where the 10 out of the 28 is full-pledged and the rest are windows. And then 22 general insurance, 9 are full-pledged takaful, and the rest are still window. For Takaful, there are 4. 1 is full-pledged and the other 3 are also window. But in 2026, our government or the regulator already imposed that for insurance, they can no longer be window. So whoever want to play in the Takaful market, they have to become full-pledged. If not, then they will have to return the license. Okay, so this is the composition of the production or portfolio of Sharia insurance in Indonesia, whereby currently is still dominated by life or family business by 78%. The domination from life or family business itself is coming from term life product, and followed by general 17%, and general is dominated by motor vehicle product. And the rest is retakaful or reinsurance by 5%. I think as explained by Tuan Haji Shahril previously, our penetration rate overall as insurance is still low. Actually, by our regulator data, the conventional penetration rate is 2.84%, and for Sharia is 0.14%. So we are still behind our neighbors such as Malaysia and Singapore. Yeah. And in terms of literacy itself, Sharia in Indonesia actually is still below the conventional one, but this year we are trying to have more frequent literacy. If I'm not mistaken, the literacy that we do this year is 3 times more than what we did last year. So this is also one of our effort to increase the penetration rate of Sharia market in Indonesia. And from inclusion itself, we are still behind the conventional. This is also something that we are going to increase this year and the coming years. However, from the asset perspective, actually Sharia or Takaful industry in Indonesia keep on increasing. If you see from the graph, 2022 to 2024, there is an increase in terms of asset in the Takaful. And in 2025, first semester, we also grow by around 5% year on year compared to 2024. So inshallah, we will keep on growing. And If we compare between Sharia and conventional, from contribution versus premium, of course, the conventional one is still the biggest market leader by 91%, yeah, or 300 trillion rupiah, and then for Takaful itself is only 9%. And in terms of asset also, conventional is still leading by 95%, and the rest is Sharia 5%. However, Indonesian population is now around 285 million, and then the number of population, the number of Muslim population is 87% or almost 90% out of the total population. So we are still confident and believe that Sharia or Takaful industry in Indonesia will grow much faster in the future. I think that's all from me, Cik Radzuan. Thank you. Assalamualaikum.
We wish all the success as well. Now, we welcome the youngest in the family of Takaful in ASEAN. So Maricel, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Radzuan. Good afternoon, everyone. Happy to be here and very grateful for this opportunity to share about our Takaful journey in the Philippines. I'm from PruLife UK. PruLife UK is the Philippine subsidiary of Prudential and in Malaysia, our affiliate company, Takaful affiliate company is PruBSN Takaful, headed by Mr. Juan. And with the help of Juan and his team, we secured the first Takaful window license in the Philippines last November. So to date, the Philippines has 4 Takaful window operators, but we are the first to have been issued a Takaful window license, and we're so proud of it. So Philippines is a predominantly Catholic country, but in Southeast Asia, we have actually the third largest Muslim population. And when we were preparing to launch our Takaful operations, we've done a study to, it's actually a first study of its kind, to look into the potential market for Takaful. So based from the 2020 census, the official number is 7 million Muslim Filipinos in a country of at least 110 million Filipinos. But unofficial number, there's actually an estimate that puts the population of Muslim Filipinos at double, so around like 14 million Filipinos. So majority of the Muslim Filipinos, they live in southern Philippines, and the insurance landscape in the Philippines, it's still under penetrated, even for the conventional insurance. And most of the Muslim Filipinos, because of religious restrictions, they don't have a sort of financial protection. So this is actually the reason why we're fully supportive of the drive from the Philippine government to really develop Islamic finance in the Philippines. And that's from the Ipsos study. So out of the 7 million Filipinos, the estimate is like only 2 million Filipinos of the total can actually afford a form of protection in the form of Takaful. So the very first regulation for Takaful, it was issued by the Insurance Commission. So in the Philippines, there are 2. The regulator for the insurance industry is separate from the banking regulator. So our regulator, the Insurance Commission, issued the first Takaful regulation back in 2022, but it's only like a framework for the establishment of the Takaful industry. And it was only in May last year that the regulation for the establishment of Takaful window operation was issued. Okay, so that's the picture from the launch that we had in November last year, and we're very proud to have like the 01 license for Takaful window. So this is the first product, the product that we have so far. It's a digital family Takaful product. So in terms of the coverage amount is 100,000 pesos. So in USD, it's around 2,000 USD. So for the contribution structure, the cheapest is $5. And the most expensive in terms of course, of the age bracket, it's around $25. So it's called Pru-term Lindungi, but in our national language, Filipino or Tagalog, we don't actually have a word for Lindungi, but in Bahasa Indonesia and Malaysia, it's actually for protection. We decided to keep the term in Lindungi because this is actually patterned after a similar product in Prudential Sharia in Indonesia. So for our Takaful window operations, we've actually got a lot of help from PruBSN, Takaful, and also from our affiliate company in Indonesia, which is Prudential Sharia. So the reason why we keep Lindungi, but in other languages, actually in the South, Lindungi can also means like a sort of protection. It means shelter or cover. So we decided to keep it to like assure the new market for Takaful that this product, of course, the model for our product is being sold already in Indonesia, and it's Sharia compliant, and it's being availed by everyone in Indonesia. So this is actually our Takaful journey, which started with Prudential BSN Takaful back in May 2022. So that was actually around the time when the regulator was just finalizing the first regulation. So just to share that we, to actually provide assistance to the regulator, we set up, we organized a capacity building session for them, discussing all aspects of PruBSN Takaful operations to the regulator. And it was, we were told that it was really handy, helpful in finalizing the framework for Takaful. And the regulation was issued, are we running out of time? So we've been busy actually since the launch of our window operations. And last June, it was actually last June when we launched our pilot product for our Takaful operations. So we've been doing a lot of community engagements, stakeholder engagements, because Takaful is really new in the Philippines. So even among the Muslim Filipino populations, they don't know about Takaful. So as the first company to enter into this Takaful space, it feels that it's our responsibility to prepare the market for the development of Takaful. And getting the support and the buy-in of the religious community is important. So even before we launched the Takaful window operations, we've been going to the southern Philippines to introduce Takaful to our religious community. And since the launch of our product, we've done a number of community-based Takaful introductions especially in Mindanao. So these are the pictures. Yeah. And also the media, because we deem that it's also important for the media to understand the difference between conventional insurance and Takaful. So we've been introducing them to the fundamentals of fiqh, Sharia, and Takaful. Okay. And crucial to our community engagement is our CSR program. It's called Adapt a Madrasa. So we're adapting madaris in Mindanao, providing them digital literacy, and also promoting climate and health, and of course, introducing them to Islamic finance and Takaful. And this is my last slide. So we really feel the need that, that we need to laymanize Takaful so that it can be understood by the average Muslim Filipino. Although in the Philippines, similar to the other jurisdictions, while the primary market are the Muslim Filipinos, we position Takaful as for everyone. So hopefully through this comic book, and also by translating our publicity materials from English into the different languages where most of the Muslims live, we can actually help the government and also the community, and also promote Takaful literacy and education.
Okay, thank you very much, Maricel. So we have less than 6 minutes to wrap up because we were asked to have a hard stop on this. Now we have countries or jurisdiction that already been doing takaful. I think Malaysia is the oldest in the sense like 40 years. Then we have Indonesia and Brunei in the span of 30 or 20 over years basically, and also Turkey. And we also have young basically country like Philippines. Now, perhaps in the last remaining hours, there's a question, but I don't think we have time for the question. For the last remaining hours, perhaps any one of you, particularly I want Maricel also to basically chip in. What are the aspirations that you think that you aspire to get from the alliance that we formed last night, and how basically you can see that we can work especially for the development of takaful in your area, and perhaps those others participants also feel free to chip in terms of what are those areas that you feel that this alliance can mutually work together to achieve a common goals of strengthening takaful to the world.
First on my mind is really capacity building. So Takaful is very new in the Philippines, so there's really a limited talent pool for Takaful, from, of course, from the regulator side down to the operators and even to the distribution channels. And another one is, we always say this, that for Takaful to be successful, the other aspects of Islamic finance need also to be successful. So the Islamic banking and Islamic investment. So those two, as of now, like we need like capacity to really develop this all the three areas in Islamic finance.
Yeah, you're always welcome to come here to Malaysia, go to Brunei or Indonesia, and we are more than happy to share whatever experience that we have. And if you can endure a long flight, you can also go to Turkey, right? So any comment from the big brothers in terms of anything that you can share? Yeah, let's listen.
And I agree, and I can summarize like that. This is when we compare the history of the world and insurance, of course, it's a new market for all of us. For that reason, actually, the mindset is very old. However, I mean the practice is new. The first one is, in my opinion, the re-takaful side. We lack capacities, especially for general insurance overall the world, not just this area, but in Turkey, European side, etc. And there are some European companies and some African companies, Arab companies who can actually provide re-takaful. But we hope the number of companies will increase. Secondly, in Turkey, for example, the public actually, the Ministry of Finance, founded re-takaful reinsurance company, and by this way actually they contributed to takaful market so much. And the idea, just an idea, like fair, the takaful markets can inform their pool to help and support each other overall the world. For example, we can work on it. The second one is the awareness, including Turkey, life and non-life. People need what is Takaful, what is the differences Takaful and the conventional industries. So in that sense, collaboration with all over the world is very important to support each other, to share the, some practices to do that. And the third one is the Islamic investments. Hopefully, it is increasing and developing Islamic investments and banking and the other alternative markets. For that reason, maybe for investments side, we should be in collaboration more, of course, in terms of and the permission of the regulations. So to be here all together with so different countries can be the starting point. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, the message really resonates because I think the awareness of Takaful, we always have to keep on reinventing ourselves as well to make sure that we get through all the generations. Because we have to remember that Takaful is a long-term visionary aspect of protection. And this is something that we need to keep on innovating, not only our messaging, but also our products and our services to how to make sure that it's always encompassing as well. Because I think there was a comment yesterday with regards to it's Islamic finance. Are we talking about being halal or is it really, Islamic finance? I think this is where the initiative for Takaful in particular, the pillar of Islamic finance, one of the pillars of Islamic finance, how can we penetrate Takaful to the masses to make it more inclusive, to make it more encompassing, and how do we distribute our products and services to make it more effective. So I think this is an overwhelming challenge, and it's so heartening to see all our brothers and sisters throughout the whole region in the world being able to do this in their own context and inshallah being successful together. Thank you.
Thank you. Bapak Yuri, you have?
Yeah, sure. Okay, I think for me it's simple. Basically, Takaful principle is based on the fairness. So whoever get the benefit, it's not just the shareholder, the company, but the one who gets benefits should be the participant as well as the shareholder. That's one thing. And then the second thing is basically, as we all know, the contribution collection or tabaru is basically to help each other. So those kind of principle, that is the basic of principle of Takaful is, I think, the one that we should introduce to the market. Because we all want everyone to get a fair business, and then we all want everyone to help each other. So this is the basic philosophy that I think will be good for the people. Yeah.
2-minute injury time for you.
2-minute injury time. Okay. I mean, I will also just not only the question, but I'm also seeing the questions on the Slido, right? And within 2 minutes, I'm trying to ambitious to address a few of those together. From an awareness perspective, maybe for Malaysia, given that we have been here for past 40 years, and based on our customer research, the awareness is relatively high. It's about 80% and all that. It's just more of now you're aware, but whether people actually translate to the take-up of the protection. Now, even if at 80%, people will ask, okay, what about this 20%, right? So 20% could be some of the underserved segments where they have not been reached and not aware. And it's interesting, I think, the questions here talking about pelindungan tenang and micro takaful, because if we look at the segment of society in Malaysia, you have the top 20, middle 40, and bottom 40. If you really want to go into the high penetration, you've got to address also the bottom 40. So now is the question, how do we actually bring the awareness down to the bottom 40 of the population? And there's a lot of initiative. I think pelindungan tenang, that means it's a kind of subsidized voucher by the government that also helps to create that awareness. But at the same time, it's not only about awareness, like I mentioned, it's about how do we actually get into the segment. And it's not only also about marketing, because marketing can only do so much. And people, they can be aware, but not take up. To me, in order to address that, you got to look at it from 3 different perspectives. One is, of course, the products that's suitable. Second is distribution. You can have products, you don't have the right distribution to that segment, it won't work. And the third one is the operations of it. Because even if you're the first two, but you can't make it easy for people to take up, that wouldn't fly as well. So we have to think through the penetration from the lens of having these 3 coming together in addressing that. And there's also a question about Dito. And truth be told, maybe Dito will have, to me, Dito could have that segment that will be able to address that 3 areas without the burden of legacy that they have, and to address the 3 components, product, distribution, and the operations in penetrating the B40 segment.
Okay, thank you so much. So that is the sharing that we have today. Hopefully, the alliance that we build will come into success. With that, thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, moderator and panelists. And can we have the ladies and gentlemen to step forward for a group photo opportunity?